how's it going? David Taub here with NextLevelGuitar.com. Hope all is going well, and I hope your guitar and musical journeys are going famously. Today, we are going to talk about this. This is Aja by Steely Dan. And in this series of videos, I'm excited to talk about, some of the records that have really influenced me as a musician and the music that I really have come to love over the years and I'm re-examining now on vinyl, and really want to look at what makes these records so effing good, right? And I like a lot of different music, from progressive hard rock to metal to jazz to rock to fusion to, progressive jazz. I like music you can really sink your teeth into, music that takes you on a journey. Part of the reason why I love Steely Dan so much is their sophisticated, unique sound. That and the way they melded jazz and rock and R&B and pop and put it all together with this unique, distinctive sound with complex arrangements and complex harmonies and just masterfully written songs with cryptic, cynical lyrics, right? And combined, of course, with the melodic hooks, right? Because their music has hooks for days, and just masterfully written songs and stellar musicianship. That's why it's so effing good. And do you know where they got the name Steely Dan from? It's from a William Burroughs novel, Naked Lunch, and it's basically a steam-powered sex toy. So how cool is that? They named their band after a dildo. Now this record, Aja, came out in 1977, and as you know, Steely Dan was basically the brainchild of Donald Fagan and Walter Becker, who met at Bard College in 1967, and they formed Steely Dan around 1971, and their first record they put out, their debut record, was Can't Buy a Thrill in 1972. Now, a lot of people think that this isn't their best record. They might think that Royal Scam or Pretzel Logic or Gaucho or Countdown to Ecstasy is their best. And this, in my opinion, is one of their more jazzier records and one of their more laid-back records. And it makes sense because they have jazz musicians playing on this, guitars by Lee Ritenour and Larry Carlton and Steve Gadd on drums. Some of the things I love about Steely Dan is they brought their own brand of vintage cool, very unique style and sound, right? And I think their music still sounds fresh today. They were kind of like the New York bohemian original hipsters back in the beatnik days. And all in all, Steely Dan put out 9 studio records, and they have sold about 40 million records worldwide. Quite a number, right? This one, Aja, was their biggest selling record, but most commercially successful. I think it's now about 2 times platinum. And it's not just a lot of these songs happen to be hits. It's just the songwriting is so good. And some of the songs are long. I mean, Deacon Blues, 7 minutes, 26 seconds. I Got the News, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Black Cow, 5 minutes, 7 seconds. And if you'd like a free ebook, a killer reference guide that you could use along your musical journey that's packed with all kinds of scale diagrams and music theory and soloing strategies and all kinds of killer things that you'll find useful throughout your guitar and musical journey, and I'll pair it with a video lesson too, send both of them to you for free. Video lesson and ebook. Just click on that link below. I mean, side 1 of this record, listen to this for the first 3 songs, Black Cow, Aja, and Deacon Blues, right? That's quite a side 1. Side 2, Peg, Home at Last, I Got the News, and Josie. That's the album front. I'll give you a close-up of that. And here's the album back. And then inside you have the picture of Fagan and Becker. And then you have an article written by Michael Phelan and the president of ABC Records. Well, this was mastered by Bernie Grudman, A&M Studios Hollywood, produced by Gary Katz, and it was recorded at various places in Los Angeles and Hollywood, and A&R Studios in New York City. And here's the inner sleeve. It has the lyrics on it. Most of the records by the Dan, and especially this one, there's just so much to sink your teeth into. The dark humor, the cryptic, cynical lyrics, right? The stellar musicianship, the complex songwriting, the masterful harmonies, the intricate arrangements, the fantastic songwriting. I mean, just a feast, an absolute feast. This record is just an absolute masterpiece, and this is why I think this record is so effing good. And very often this band gets panned. There's so many critics out there of Steely Dan, and they say, well, Steely Dan, they're not really a band. They're just a revolving door of a bunch of studio musicians and hired guns, and it's just, Fagan and Becker at the console for thousands of hours doing thousands of takes and picking the perfect one, and that's not a band. And my response to that is that's irrelevant. What's the end product? What's the music they create? They create this. and this is a masterpiece. So all that stuff really doesn't matter because of their musical and lyrical brilliance and their masterful songwriting and the stellar musicianship that went into these records. And if you could do me a huge favor, please subscribe to the channel. You know, subscribing to the channel, that really helps us to keep the content coming, as well as then you'll be notified when I have new videos posted. Also, leave a comment below. Let me know how you like this video. Let me know what videos and music you'd like to see coming up next, right? And if you like the video, please click the like button, give it a thumbs up, share it, and thank you so much for your support. So if we examine a couple of cuts on this record, you know, I love Deacon Blues. It's 7 minutes and 26 seconds, and I love long songs. You know, I'm a big progressive rock fan. Not that this necessarily is progressive rock, but, you know, I love the whole long songs concept. I love music that takes you on a journey. And that's partly what's drawn me to progressive hard rock and rock so much in bands like Rush and Dream Theater and, you know, bands that just, you know, really have music that you could sink your teeth into. So Deacon Blues, and again, you know, their songs could have many interpretations, right? But to me, this sounds like a story of a guy in like a midlife crisis, a guy from the suburbs, kind of a broken man who's thinking about an alternate life, who's thinking about other life possibilities. This is the day of the expanding man. You know, he's expanding his mind, thinking about what life could have been like. I think he's kind of thinking about what it would be like to maybe be a jazz musician, right? I'll learn to work the saxophone. I'll play just what I feel, drink scotch whiskey all night long, and die behind the wheel. He's thinking about life, what it would be like as a, you know, a high-level musician, right? All the partying and the drinking. They call Alabama the Crimson Tide, call me Deacon Blues. I read about that. That lyric... Becker was like, man, they gave that Crimson Tide, some stupid football team, this powerful name like Crimson Tide, right? So why not give a name to, you know, the geeks or the losers in the world, right? So call them something cool, and they'll call them Deacon Blues, right? So here's this guy. He grew up in the suburbs, kind of felt alienated, and looked for something else, an alternative life out there. And in fact, I think that's kind of how Donald Fagan and Walter Becker grew up, right? They grew up in the suburbs. Let's look at another song. How about Black Cow? I love that song. So awesome. And again, it just tells a killer story. And again, it could have multiple interpretations of what it exactly means. It could be the story of a troubled relationship. In the corner of my eye, I saw you in Rudy's. You were very high. You know, on the counter, but by your keys was a book of numbers and your remedies. Maybe he's telling a story of, you know, a relationship that's starting to fail. He saw this girl at Rudy's, which, by the way, was a drinking establishment in New York. So he starts talking about maybe a girlfriend and explaining her behavior. And, you know, as they tell the story, you start to get a look into her character and what she's about. And the story, the plot thickens, right? And there they go on this killer story again. Listen to this. On the counter by your keys was a book of numbers and your remedies. Remedies, maybe that's like drugs, right? Maybe there's some Quaaludes or something, or whatever drugs they took back there in the late 70s, cocaine maybe? Was a book of numbers and your remedies. One of these surely will screen out the sorrow, but where are you tomorrow? That's a great line. Like, your remedies, one of these will surely screen out the sorrow. Like, okay, you know, you could take your drugs and maybe that will relieve you of your reality for a little while, but, you know, when that drug fades, you know, where are you going to be tomorrow? You're going to be right back where you started from, huh? What a great line. And then the hook, you know, it's over now, drink your big black cow and get out of here. Black cow, could be a reference to that drink back in the soda fountains back in the 50s. And that's when kind of, I guess, Fagan and Becker grew up. So that could be a reference to that. Or maybe they're talking about the alcoholic black cow drink. And this is a whole bit about the nightlife scene, right? So just super cool and really cryptic and dark, right? And dark humor. That song, Chuck Rainey on bass, Larry Carlton played guitar, and then there was some horn players, and of course the backup vocals with the killer harmonies. Paul Humphrey played drums. So I hope you enjoyed this little dive into Aja by Steely Dan. Be sure to subscribe to the channel too, because that really helps us to keep the content coming. And I'll put some of my free video lessons and ebooks in the YouTube description box below. Be sure to click on those, get some free lessons, free ebooks, things that will help you along in your guitar and musical journey, packed with all kinds of scale diagrams and music theory. I put a lot of time and effort into those. I think you'll find them great reference tools. And if you want to check out some of my original music, I recently dropped a new record with my original band Mind Cell. We're based out of San Diego, California. I think it's a slammin' record, some of the best music I've ever written. I'm really stoked about it. It's streaming on all the platforms. I'll put links to that below also in the YouTube description box. Check it out. And then if you have any questions on the songs or maybe the studio techniques I use or the gear, drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. Even though we are not The band is not named after a steam-powered sex toy. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for your support over the years and years. So appreciated. Stay tuned. I got lots more videos, content. We'll examine more records. And remember, your guitar and musical journey is an evolution. Take care, rock on. I'll see you in the next video.